Stirring scenes occur in this valley no more. There is not a solitary village throughout its whole extent, not for 30 miles in any direction. There are 2 or 3 small clusters of Bedouin tents, but not a single permanent settlement. One may ride 10 miles and not see even 10 human beings. This not-so-flattering description given by Mark Twain in 1867 provides Palestine with a rather bleak portrayal. In fact, one could argue that the author despised every moment of his journey there. So how did all the disputes over this desolate place even begin? The simple answer is that about 140 years ago, Jews established a Zionist movement, immigrated in large numbers to Palestine, and later on established a state there. Some of the Arabs who were in Palestine at that time claimed dispossession and infringement of their rights, and therefore reacted with terrorism. But that's a simplistic answer, and we already know that nothing is really simple in the Middle East. So let's go back a bit further in time. For hundreds of years, nomadic people and small tribes lived scattered throughout the land. Starting from 1516, the land of Israel was a small province under Ottoman rule, what is now referred to as Turkey. Yasser Arafat, who was the president of the Palestinian Authority, spoke at the UN in 1974 and declared, "The Jewish invasion of Palestine began in 1881. According to Arafat, before the first major wave of immigrants began to arrive, the majority of the population was Muslim, Christian, and only 20,000 were Jews." Arafat downplays the number of Jews a bit, but in general, he is correct. In the 19th century, the majority in Israel were Muslims. Specifically, Jerusalem had a Jewish majority, but in any case, we are still talking about small numbers of residents. By the way, in that same year, 1881, the famous explorer Arthur Penrhyn Stanley visited the Holy Land and, just like Mark Twain, finds almost no people at all. There is no sign of life in Judea, and no sign of a settlement.
Without vegetation and without life, empty desolation, that is Palestine.
So was the land really empty? Definitely not. It was inhabited by Arabs, Muslims, Christians, and a Jewish minority. But apparently, it was convenient for them to see the half-empty glass. Back to 1881, Jews began to immigrate to the land of Israel. Arafat calls it an invasion. Jews call it an aliyah, ascent. They come from different countries and try to make the desert, as described by the writers, bloom. They establish new agriculture settlements: Rishon LeZion, Zikron Yaakov, Petach Tikva, and Rosh Pina. By the way, this is what they look like today. From the moment the first immigrants arrive, they tell their friends who also decide to arrive, and the demographic balance begins to change. Within 30 years, the number of Jews in the land of Israel rises to 80,000. The Jews buy land with money. There is even registration by the Ottoman authorities. To this day, this registration forms the basis for the rights of Jews in the State of Israel. And yet, money is just one aspect. Land requires work, hard work. It's not easy to turn the barren land like Mark Twain described into a flourishing one. But don't worry, motivation is sky high. Ironically, the Jews, who come from Europe and are not accustomed to manual labor, learn from Arabs living in the area. As hard as it may be to believe, they actually work together, Arab and Jewish farmers. Yet, beneath the surface, tension is constantly simmering. The Arabs feel that the Jews are multiplying and growing, and fear for their place. From the Jewish perspective, they see it as a mission. Finally, a place where they won't be persecuted. It should be remembered that the rule is Ottoman, and every person has the freedom to immigrate, purchase land, and work the land. And there is enough land for everyone. During the Jewish immigration, Arabs from the surrounding countries, Lebanon, Iraq, Egypt, and Syria, also immigrated, mainly for work. In general, there was a wave of Muslim migrations as well, and these are the roots of those who would later be called Palestinians. Let's go back to the conflict. Jews claim that by the end of the 19th century, they were the majority in Jerusalem, and Arabs claim that they were the majority in other parts of the country. Both are correct to some extent. How? Numbers. It's a flexible thing and highly dependent on who's counting.